Good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to the Roddcar Truck Tour from the Paperclip Martinsville Speedway, on tap tonight for the opening part of LSRTV's Friday night doubleheader, and we are set to roll from Martinsville. The qualifying session is underway as we get set for 100 laps tonight. I want to welcome you inside the LSRTV broadcast booth alongside myself, Evan Pusoko, always joined by Andy Katzler and our driver analyst Josh Ball. Cisco Scarmo's down in the production trailer pushing the buttons, guys. We've been at a couple of fun tracks the last couple of weeks, Bristol included in that, but Martinsville is a different kind of fun, Andy. I know you like New Hampshire, and this is New Hampshire, but a lot smaller, and I think that the good way to kind of point that out is look at qualifying right now. We've got a full field out there on a half-mile track trying to do a 5-minute open qualifier. This probably isn't all that far from what we'll be seeing tonight during the race.
No, it absolutely isn't. I like to call New Hampshire Martinsville on steroids, and we get to see the smaller version of it right here tonight. And the trucks always put on a decent show here. We saw it not this past Wednesday night, but the Wednesday night before that, we saw some trucks doing battle out here. They had a pretty good race, and it was one of those that was actually surprisingly green flag for a lot of laps. It has that potential if everybody can get separated, but these tight turns make it difficult all night long to keep the thing straight. And might see a lot of guys giving the dive bomb, giving the chrome horn to the back bumper, pushing guys out of the way. It's one of those things you're going to see a lot of beating and banging at short track racing tonight.
I think it's safe to say that this series is one that you go big or you go home in, Josh. It's a very difficult series to be patient. We always talk about how patience is the key to being successful towards the end of some of these races, but a track like Martinsville, a place where you would ideally like to be able to take it easy early, work your way through the opening 50, 75 laps and get at it late. I just don't see that happening tonight, because if you don't make a move on that guy in front of you, the guy behind you is going to be all over you. We've seen that plenty of times this season, and I think at this kind of a racetrack where you really have to wait for these trucks to rotate, guys can very easily like to get a little bit over aggressive and force the issue whenever they want.
Oh, for sure, and the restarts are going to be the biggest thing. People trying to get as many spots as possible. Just like last week at Bristol, that's the best time to pass, and with that, you're going to have lots of people trying to get position, and it's unfortunately going to cause wrecks, people trying to dive bomb others and get as many positions as possible. But yeah, tonight here at Martinsville, we'll definitely see, I'm expecting to see probably more caution laps than green flag. Hopefully that's not the case, but you definitely get pretty loose coming off the corners if you're under somebody, so we'll look for some incidents there.
Well, as the qualifying session begins to draw to a close, it's right now Greg Hooks at the top of the road with a 20.095. Still plenty of time to get to the top spot, but as we get set to go racing from Martinsville Speedway, we're going to throw things down now trackside for tonight's opening ceremonies, down with Jaden Berkey for the performance of tonight's national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the Star-Spangled Banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
I want to welcome you back to the Martinsville Speedway, and we did say that there was time to improve, but how about the lap from the number 210 of Tom Moustakis? Christian Peterson bested hooks by 2/100ths of a second, Andy, but down below 20 seconds. First driver tonight to do it. Tom Moustakis going to sneak away with the pole at the last minute.
That was a great lap he put down. I was able to watch it, and he really got that thing to stick right on the bottom, right next to that curb, and get all the speed. And you got to be patient through these corners all night long. He did it right there and got himself a fantastic time for qualifying.
We take a look at tonight's Roddcar starting grid. It is going to be that 210 at the top, the 19,957 to our pole sitter this afternoon. Christian Peterson going to be dropped back to the number 2 spot. Greg Hooks will roll in third tonight. Alongside him on the outside in row number 2, the 93 of James Pileski. Mark Jorgensen Jr., fastest driver in practice, qualifying with a 5th at a P6 for Casey Malone. Sean Bounty, Brandon Chiburko back in row 4, and 9th and 10th go to Seth Merchant and Alex Hallen.
Rod Flagg will start in that 11th spot. 12th goes to Ryan Pyland. Corey Henry will start 13th. 14th goes to Rodney Wofford. Jason Altmans will start 15th. 16th goes to Frank Brusilia. Ryan Keese will start 17th. Jared Haggerty in the 18th spot. 19th goes to Derek Walker. And Shane McEachin starts 20th.
Tara Anderson start on 21st, 22nd. David and Justin Anderson, Mark Emery, Kent Connolly round out the top 24. Sean Turner, P25 tonight. Number 35, Brandon Montevice is P26. Tommy Hall, Ray Rittenauer, Kelly Dahl, Matt Quick round out your top 30.
So 15 rows of competition get set to roll out, and Tom Moustakis at the top of the board going to get us set and ready to roll. 100 laps this evening at the Martinsville Speedway, and I know we talked about patience, and I know we talked a lot about how this racetrack is going to kind of affect the driver throughout the race. When we take a look at some of the characteristics of Martinsville, and again, the big thing is, well, there's not a lot of banking, Andy. No lateral grip. You really have to wait for these trucks to rotate to get back to the gas. And as I told Josh, it's not normally the patient guy that wins these races on Friday night. So I'm curious to see the format that this race is going to take. And I think the pace of it could be decided in the opening couple of laps on what kind of event we'll see.
No, you're absolutely right, and that's definitely something we're going to have to keep an eye on for all these guys, is just how patient they're going to be. You need to be patient, especially early on. Got to get that track position, too, so we'll see who can be the most patient and be the most aggressive at the same time.
Lights on the pace car are going to go off this time by Josh. What kind of driver is going to win this race? We talking top 5, top 10, and what's their mentality going to be?
I think it's going to be the top 5, at least tonight. One of those guys starting up front, just staying out of trouble. There's going to be a lot of incidents, unfortunately, going from the Beehive last week to Chicken Wing Capital this week, and we'll see. But I think the winner is going to come from that top 5.
We're about to find out for race 1 of 2 in tonight's Ice Super Speedway doubleheader, and we're happy to have you with us on LSRTV, streaming through iRacing Live. The pace car dives down and away. Tom Moustakis' Toyota Tundra on the bottom of the racetrack, going to come out of turn number 4. Green flag in the air and underway from the paperclip. Green flag at Martinsville Speedway, down to turn number 1 for the first time. Moustakis on the bottom, can't get hooked up. Big problems behind.
We'll caution out early, too.
Looks like number 20 machine of Derek Walker. A lot of smoke coming out of the Crown Royal Chevrolet. Looked like he was just getting that machine turned back around. I said the pace of this race may be dictated in the opening laps or the opening quarter. That 20 machine, it looked like he even just locked up the brakes. I was going to say he got hit from behind, but I think that could have simply been the accordion effect from everybody going down into turn number 1 because he was sideways. I'm not even sure he got hit from behind, but the 19 got awfully close, it looked like they just locked it up.
Yeah, it looks like it just locked the brakes right up, getting down in the corner. Maybe not are unaware of how quickly those guys in front of them were going to get on the brakes. So it's one of those things. Restarts here at Martinsville are a tough, tricky thing to do, especially when you're about in the middle of the pack like that 20 machine was. It just had to get on the brakes way too hard right there. Wasn't anticipating those guys slowing down in front of him, and it cost him right there. And fortunate enough, though, everyone around him was very aware of what happened. And they were able to keep that thing straight. It looks like only the single car spin right there for the 20.
The car is going to be coming down to the pit lane, mainly from the back of the pack. Get some tires into fuel. Your race leaders, no point in coming down for service. Got only about a couple hundred feet of action underway before we slowed things back down. I said in qualifying that it could very well be like what we're going to see in the race. We always have a 5-minute open qualifying session, Josh, at some of these other tracks, at some of the intermediate tracks, and especially the bigger tracks. But again, here there was so little room that there's quite a variance of guys who were top 10 cars in practice that are down outside the top 20 in qualifying. Two names that jumped to mind right away, Justin Anderson and Ryan Keese. That could be simply because they just didn't get a chance to get a clean lap in there. It is a lot of traffic on not a lot of real estate, and I think that restart proves to us tonight that it is going to be a constant struggle. Maybe not for the guys up front, which is where I'll agree with you that our winner's probably going to come for the guys leading inside the top 5, because the guys in the back, they're not really getting a chance to run at full speed at all. They're just reacting to what's going on in front of them.
Yeah, exactly. And when we were watching qualifying there, it just seemed like everybody was having trouble just getting out there, just even getting a lap. So with the 30 truck field, it's pretty packed down there tonight. So it's very crowded, and we already saw by that first caution right away that it's not going to be easy all night. One big development I'm following, points leader Seth the Merchant started 9th in the race, and he actually fell to 24th just in that quarter of a lap. I think he came down pit road, Evan, but
the green flag going to come back out, and race leader Christian Peterson now on the bottom of the racetrack. He'll take it over. Moustakas elected the outside. That did not work at all, and I think he chose that because he thought that 71 was going to get the upper hand of him on the outside, but Moustakas was on the inside for the drop of the first green flag. Not the case, though. 71 Chevy to the point. Moustakas now back to P2, and side by side for third, where it's more so the 98 of Greg Hook's trying to not fall back because he'll get cleared by the 93. At Casey Malone coming up the bottom as well now for 4th.
Yeah, it's one of those tracks, too. You don't want to get caught on the outside. You can see Greg Hooks on the outside there in that 98 machine. Looks like you might have a little bit of room right there in front of the 88, but looks like Jorgensen just gave him a nice little bump right there. It's going to keep him to the high side there, so it makes it real tough on the top side to maintain your position. Typically, we'll see, especially on these restarts, somebody gets stuck out there, and you can see that 98 continuing to lose spots as now the 3 of Brandon Chaburko. He makes his way in there off turn 4.
There's no doubt that these guys aren't going to get up off the yellow line. They're going to want to hug the bottom all night long. Cautioned before that, though, spinner at a turn number 4 down the front straightaway. The Adidas Toyota of Mark Emery facing out to the outside retaining wall, and it looked like he just got sideways on his own. No, he had a little bit of help, plenty of help actually, in turn number 3. A Demerchant to the inside. I'm not sure if the 11 meant to leave that much room down there or thought he was still clear, but they made contact and he saved it. Went back around though, but he got the tires back up on the curbing. That's going to bring out the second caution on the night. And you took a second look there with the LSRTV replay, which goes back to the point that I was going to make, Andy, that nobody's going to give you the bottom unless it's a lap car. They're not just going to go up a lane and say, hey, if you're battling me, I'm going to protect the outside. It's obvious the inside here is the place to be when you're talking about a battle with equal tires with each other. So that case right there, Demerchant trying to go to the bottom, and what we saw the lap prior with Jorgensen getting into the left rear of the truck in front of him, that's going to happen all night long. That's not as much as an aggressive move maybe at a track like Martinsville than it would be if you hit somebody in the back end at a track like a Las Vegas or a Texas where you're doing 195 miles an hour. That's just how you race at this kind of a track.
Yeah, it's just tight quarters. Everybody's fighting for that real estate on the bottom. It makes it for one of those interesting races. And you know what? Honestly, you may have a 10th place speed in your car. It'd be a 10th place car. But then when you're out there and you're up in the top 5 or even leading this thing, you can lead this race on a lot of laps if you do it right. You may be a slower car than the guys behind you, but if you do it right and you protect that bottom lane, you got a good opportunity to come out of here and steal a win. It's one of those tracks that's it's just track position's real tough, and it's so hard to pass cleanly.
Josh, are you in agreement with us, or are you thinking something else?
No, I definitely agree. It's very hard to pass here, like I was saying in the pre-race. Everybody's trying to get as much as they can here, as soon as we go back on the restart. Basically, your best time to pass, everybody's jumbled up. So you probably see a lot of dive bombs happening, throughout the night. And Seth the Merchant there, unfortunately, really didn't dive bomb that 11, but he got under him enough where Mark Emery now falls 2 laps down. But, everybody's a little bit faster. You saw Seth the Merchant start P9 tonight, where Emery was back in 23rd. Unfortunately, Seth was back there. He's obviously faster, so just getting in the way and people trying to get as much as they can. Like you said, the outside is not the place to go, and nobody's going to give up that inside.
Lights of the pace car may go out this time by. We'll take a look as the American Childhood Cancer Organization Ford Mustang GT cycles us back around, and they do. So it is going to be a lap number 50 to restart, still with 86 laps to go. 2 quick caution flags here at the Martinsville Speedway have brought our first couple of laps here through us at a slowed pace. We'll see how this one goes. That 7 of Peterson took advantage, and Moustakas opening up the bottom on the last go at it, and he'll keep that inside line, kicking the 210 to the top. As the pace car drops down, it'll be Pileski, Malone, and Jorgensen inside the top 5. Hooks, Chaburko, Halidar, Flag, and Pyland through the top 10. They'll roll at a turn number 4 at 45 miles an hour into the American Ethanol restart box. They go, and Moustakas got a big jump on the leader. He checked things up, but I think he may just avoid a penalty by doing so, but it really slows the momentum of the trucks behind and Spinner behind them.
Here we go. Looks like one car back there. Unfortunately, Matt Quick, 89 of Matt Quick, got spun around there going down at the first turn. I think he just locked it up, really, Evan and Andy. He just tried to slow down too quickly, and we saw that in the first caution with Derek Walker.
Yeah, that looked exactly like we saw with Derek Walker. Again, the cars in the back, or the trucks in the back in this case, you're not going into turn 1, Andy, at least on these restarts, driving into your braking point and getting on the brakes. You're getting off the gas and you're coasting a little bit so you can gauge what the trucks in front of you are doing, because you have to modify your line. Because again, much like you see in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, they have actually 2 pace cars pace the field around at the start of the races so that the cars in the back can actually be at speed. There is such a speed lag from front to back that it's the same thing that happened earlier. It's just he wasn't expecting everybody to slow down that quickly, and while he was a little bit behind them and even looked like he was trying to be intentionally conservative to avoid that from happening, it still ends up with the same result.
Yeah, I think another product's too much rear brake on those things. Too much rear brakes in these trucks, and I think that's a product of it as well. But you got to remember, the new build came out just about 3 days ago, and not so much maybe the downforce package with these trucks, but the tires are different, and the tire wear's different, and the setup could be a little bit different too, as far as the iRacing specs, because these guys run the fixed setup. So a lot of things can be different. These guys are still learning, I think, this new build, and it could take a little bit of time. But at the same time, we saw a lot of action last week at Bristol, and I wasn't surprised that we'd see more action this week as well, hitting back-to-back with the short tracks.
Third caution in the opening 20 laps of competition, Josh. When a race starts like this, I said that the first couple of laps will kind of show us what's going to happen. Is this going to be a race really of short runs, or are we going to break this thing open at some point? Because I want to say that we will, because we always see this rough type of a pattern to races. Couple of yellows early. Guys got to try to figure themselves out and mix themselves out. Then you get green in the middle, and more likely than not, you get a couple of late race yellows to make it exciting. But the field is not thinning out more, so if it's a traffic problem for the guys at the back, we're only down to 28 drivers on the lead lap. It's not getting any easier back there.
No, and 2 of the cautions you saw were self-spin, so I feel like that may be an issue most of the night as well, because people are trying to get up to speed in the back, and everybody stopped there on the bottom because we're going so slow and getting around that first turn. Quick and Derek Walker are both pretty good drivers here. They've been around for a while, veterans as we call them, and they unfortunately just, spun out on their own. So it's going to be a product of the evening, but looks like we're getting double file again here for another restart.
Lights off again. It'll be this time 20 down and 80 laps to go. Pace car ducks down in turn number 3, and the race leader's got to wait all the way to the come out of turn number 4 to the restart box before he can start the race. And the big change is it's James Pileski now outside in second. Green flag in the air, and for the number 7, what a Peterson. Peterson did not get going at all. The 93, about half a truck length in front for the entire time. The race at a turn number 2, 3 wide behind with Jorgensen on the outside. He'll slot in front, and now the 93. He checks up. Pileski gonna go to the inside. He's got Moustakas on the curbs to his bottom, and somehow the 93 will shut the door and hang on. But Tom Moustakas not taking any of it. He drives hard into turn number 1 and gives him a big shot.
That was a huge
Caution
shot, and a caution out again.
Without that caution, I'm not sure they would have made it through turns 3 and 4, guys. It's Monsivice who's around.
Yeah, there was no way they were going to make it through 3 and 4. Those guys were battling so hard up there through the first couple positions, and they were just giving all they could. But luckily that caution is going to slow it down a little bit, and we'll get ready for another one of those. So just wait to see how it unfolds next time.
And what happened, that was a double single car incident, really. Sean Turner locked up the brakes on his own, and it caused a lockup from behind, and that's where Brandon Cruz Monsivice went around. Let's talk Tom Moustakas and James Pileski, though, Andy. We saw the 3 wide behind. Jorgensen kind of slotted in from that third lane down in front of the 3, and Pileski, knowing that cars were coming, he braked early to get in line. That's rather standard procedure at Martinsville. And he wasn't expecting the 210 of Moustakas to swing to the bottom. I wouldn't say that 93 is out of line with that move. Maybe in the final 5 laps you don't expect somebody to cut you a break, but I don't think he was expecting the 210 to go into the grass after him, and most definitely not try to run him into the fence the next time they got into a corner, because that caused pretty heavy damage on both those trucks.
Yeah, it absolutely did. I'm more worried about the 210 though, Moustakas there, that front end. And if it ends up closing up that front end, it can make the truck overheat, even though we're at a small short track like this. So he's got to be careful any more damage, if it hasn't already damaged that front end too much. He's got to be careful, because any more contact might ruin it even more. But, yeah, hey, listen, we saw this a battle for the lead two Wednesdays ago, the trucks here at Martinsville, and it was the same thing. The actual leaders were beating and banging like that with each other, and basically showing their displeasure. I think Moustakas probably wasn't happy that the 93 cut him off like that, so he let him know, and that's exactly what you're going to get at these short track races, is you're going to get guys like that just showing their displeasure with each other, and some of these might have boiled over from last week as well.
And I did say that hitting somebody in the back end is more so just how you race at Martinsville than at some other tracks. When you hit them that hard, I think it's trying to send a message, and they're talking a little bit under the caution flag, which is something that always makes these short tracks fun. Is it doesn't take much battling to get these guys heated. They really haven't had a chance at going at each other yet tonight, and just one piece of contact, the next thing you know, you got to keep one of your eyes on both of them, because who knows what's going to happen, because we're going to be in the exact same situation. Pileski is going to be on the outside of the front row, and it's going to be Moustakas in line behind him, and it's going to be the same song and dance like we just saw, and they're going to have to try to figure it out again. I'm sure, though, Pileski is going to be a little bit more reserved on sliding in line, knowing that 210's there now.
Yeah, and you figure this is a place you can kind of get away with paying the people back. If you're angry at somebody, this is a place you can give it the bumper. We're going slow enough in the turns where you can correct it. And but later on tonight that won't be the case. But they'll be getting ready to go back green here, coming out of 4 once again.
Side by side they come through turn number 4. It's going to be Peterson on the bottom, Pileski on the outside. Second time in a row, the 93 beats the leader to the start-finish line. Check up on the bottom. Now battling back to the inside comes the 71. 2 wide, all the way deep. Now down the back straightaway, the 71. He'll pull up single file. Moustakas to the inside of the 93 of Pileski. It's a battle for P2. 210 locks it up. He runs the 93 up the hill. Still nose to tail they go, and somehow Pileski wins the fight.
He wins that fight for now, but look at that battle. Whoa, they lock him up again right there. A lot of tire smoke coming off these cars, or these trucks, I should say. In the battle for third, though, battling pretty good, or heating up, I should say. Look at that 52 of Casey Malone there, jumping to the inside now with Moustakis. It's going to be that battle for that third spot, getting tight off these corners right there. That's another one of these things these guys got to be conscious of here throughout the night, too, in the side-by-side battle just behind these guys as well.
Yeah, that's the 98, the 88 they watched, the 52 and the 210 do battle. Talk about not giving anybody any room. That 52 pinched down to the yellow, curbing by Moustakis on the outside. That 210 locked up the tires when he was on the inside of Pileski. That's what gave Pileski the run off the corner to clear him. And then we saw the corner right there afterwards, Pileski do the same thing. So these guys trying to figure out their braking points at this track, and the 210 will win the battle against the 52 on the outside of the racetrack. The unconventional preferred lane. It works for Moustakis. He'll get back to solo possession of the number 3 spot. And now behind them, the 88. Jorgensen taps the back of the 52. He pushes up, gets into Greg Hooks. It'll drop Greg Hooks now back to P6. Top 8, now 10, single file.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult for those guys to. We got a slow car there on a front straightaway. Guys, everybody got to watch out for that. When you're too wide, and you're pinching on the high side really hard, it's hard for that guy on the bottom to get off the corner. So sometimes that outside will prevail if you're able to run it right, but most of the time it's going to be that inside. But we just saw Moustakis definitely prevail on the outside, but it looks like Malone's back, try to get that third spot again.
He's trying to go back to the bottom of the racetrack. That is the Raising Cane's Corsa Chevrolet, and the 210 occupying third is making up time of the guys in front of him. It's not like Moustakis appears to be slowed much by the damage. He's still third. Pileski's still P2. They're not quite on pace with Christian Peterson, although now working the longest green flag stretch of the night, we don't know what their speed has been like in comparison to him all night, but it looks like it's somewhat fair to say that the damage really isn't hurting them that much at this juncture. So Malone has an upper hand if he wants to do something, but he's got to watch it. He's looking to the inside of Moustakis. Moustakis going to be looking to the inside of Pileski here. That 210 has to keep his head on a swivel. He can't get too occupied with the truck in front of him and forget about the person behind him, because he could open up that door without even knowing about it.
Yeah, and opening the door is definitely not what you want to do. We talked about that. You don't have to be the fastest truck to be up front. You just got to be the smartest when it comes to driving and being able to hold that bottom lane and keep enough speed up to stay, from that guy to get in your back bumper behind you. So it's all about timing. It's all about rhythm, too, at this racetrack. And once we've gotten these green flags going now here, these guys are able to start now to get into a rhythm, something they haven't been able to do here all night. And this is where you'll see the action start to spread out just a bit. You'll see some guys starting to pick some guys off one at a time. But and the 93 just keeps getting locked up there in the corner. We see him in turns 1 and 2. Seems like every time we go down there, he's just on the brakes too much. He's definitely got to maybe adjust that brake setting.
Yeah, he's going to be able to hold on to P2 for now, but it is allowing Peterson to pull away. The 71 now 1 second in front of the field. And once you get going green, the laps are going to get knocked by quite quickly. Almost going to be lap 40 this next time around, not far from the halfway point. And Peterson now going to slowly start to catch up to a steady stream of lap traffic. Holding the bottom is Tommy Hall. Hall going to let your race leader go on by to the inside of the middle of the corner. No, he'll have to wait behind him just for a brief moment, which the 4's not trying to get in his way, but that's going to be something that happens all night long. There is limited real estate for these lead cars to get on by. You see, he's got to work the outside on that 4 all the way through 3 and 4. It'll cost Peterson some time, but he's got plenty of distance back to P2 to not really have to worry about it. That could become a deciding factor later on in this race.
We had some contact in the corner there. Looked like the 88 and the 210 made some contact, and that pushed Moustakis up out of the racing groove right there. He loses a couple spots there. So everybody back straight, though, but a good save right there for Moustakis in that 210. But like I said, he lost a couple spots there. And look at the 52 now starting to make the move up to second there. He's going to make this a battle here really quick.
I did find that contact somewhat ironic because it was the 93 who slotted in line in front of Moustakis that upset Moustakis, and he was trying to get in behind the 52 and got hit just like he gave he dished it out to the 93. He got hit by the 88 of Mark Jorgensen. Jorgensen not going to sit around and wait for anybody, so he took his spot from him. Moustakis, your pole sitter, now back to the number 5 spot, and he's got a mirror full of Greg Cooks, and in front of him it is the 88 machine trying to get at Pileski as Casey Malone now moves to the number 2 position. The 93, the next driver, under attack. That battle for P2, though, going to drop them 1.7 seconds behind Peterson, who continues to stretch it out.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing is that 93 and that 210 battle earlier, definitely wearing on those tires now. We're getting into a decent run here, and we heard a lot of guys in practice get very tight here after a while. So you get tight going in the corner, tight in the middle, and loose coming off. So definitely probably going to see part of that going on. You're seeing the 93 locking them up a lot going into the corner. So I expect to see a lot of these tires start to fall off here shortly, and we're going to probably need some green flag pit stops if we keep going this way.
Almost halfway point. The battles continue back into pack a little bit. The 89 machine back quick up on the curb and almost into the fence. He's 1 lap down. In fact, he's the first driver 1 lap down at the moment, letting these guys get by on the outside of the racetrack. Another change for position. Top 5, Mark Jorgensen Jr., the number 88 Tracker Boat Chevrolet. He'll take that spot away from James Pileski. He drops the 93 machine down to the number 4 spot, in which he started. All of that while going side by side with lap traffic high and low as they go 3 wide in the back.
That looked like the 87, actually. Ray Rittenauer got into the wall off of turn number 2, and that caused him to slow up on the high side. And the leaders made some good moves there, some evasive moves to get out of the way and stay low and able to keep it going. That's what makes this place such a hard place to pass, a hard place to get around, is the fact that how quickly you catch up to lap traffic. And then not only now you have to battle the guys around you for those top positions, but you also got to navigate yourself around these lap trucks. And a lot of them, maybe ill handling, maybe a lot of damage, and they're just not driving accurately. So it's real tough to judge your passing. You really got to time it just right, either get them on the entry or get them right off the corner. You don't want to time it right in the middle of the corner, because that would definitely hurt your speed and hurt your momentum.
Pileski going to get out of the way. He lets Tom Moustakis take the number 4 spot. And look at the 98 trying to take advantage of that. Couldn't quite do, but he actually tried the outside. The Napa Auto Parts Chevy behind in Greg Hooks. Not going to be able to put up a fight with Pileski for 5th at this moment. Did he give him a shot in turn 4? He'll turn him to the inside wall. What a save. Pileski, no, he overcorrects. Back up into the outside wall. Turn down to the inside, and he comes to a stop. Caution flag is out.
Oh, wow, you could see that coming, Evan.
Yeah, it looked like he had it.
He was dirt tracking it there for a second, got too much on that gas coming off of 4, and unfortunately just spun it back around to bring out another caution. But wow, that he definitely got dumped, that's for sure.
I was just saying the 98 couldn't get to him, and he made it work. And again, the 93 was so far out, it looked like he was gone. And I don't even think Pileski got into the inside wall. I think that was a save. And coming off of the corner, he had it, and I think what happened was he just got back on the gas before that truck had really settled back down, spun back up the hill, right in front of and across the nose of Greg Cook. So the caution will fly just at halfway, and he leaders down pit road. Peterson leads them all.
Yeah, it's the first time they've head down pit road. This will probably be the last time, with the way track position is so key here. So Christian Peterson, caution, I think, coming out just at the right time for him.
Oh, he overshot his stall. Wow.
box. We talked about this. He's
still not in it.
These pit boxes,
wow.
That's going to really hurt him right there. But this is one of those places that it's such a tough pit road, because those whole first 6-7 spots are right on the curve there, and when you come around the corner, it's really hard to judge getting into your box. And that 71 lost a ton of positions.
At least 7 positions beat him out of pit road. Henry, Flag, DeMerchant, Chaburko, Moustakis, Malone, and Jorgensen all beat him off of the pit lane. Alex Hallinar stays out, picks up a lap lead. How about Mark Jorgensen Jr., though? From 3rd in line, he took 4 tires. He just straight up beat them all off of the pit lane. And he will go to the race lead once scoring updates. The 64 who stayed out comes down to the pit lane, his most recent time by. And that changes everything, because now we're going to find out how good Christian Peterson really is. He was pulling out way out in front of the field in clean air and not a lot of traffic. He'll be back in the pack now. First off, I think the big key is going to be Andy getting 5 laps of green strung together so we can spread things out a little bit, and then the battles can develop, because, cautions breed cautions. We could end up in the same scenario that we saw at the drop of the first green flag. That's a couple of yellows and not a chance to do anything. But Peterson, if his truck is as fast as it looked, he'll still have a struggle getting through the pack, but he'll be able to make moves. I'm curious how it's going to act way back on row number 4.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch as well. And the other key point is he's right now showing 8th, which means he's going to start in the outside lane. So that's even putting him at a disadvantage as well. I wouldn't be surprised to see him drop back to at least 10th or 11th maybe.
The lights go off on the pace car. We're about to find out. It is Jorgensen Malone, row number 1. Moustakis Chaburko on row 2. Flag Henry, row 3. And then as well, it's DeMerchant Flag back on row number 3, P5, 6. And then Henry to the inside of Peterson back on row number 4. And it'll be 44 laps to go from the Martinsville Speedway. Pace car down. The 88 Chevrolet in front to the restart box. Green flag in here. And the 88, he did not go at the green. Bye-bye goes the 52 of Casey Malone. I don't think he jumped it. I just think that 88 didn't go.
I'm not sure. We'll see here in a second or two if that black flag's going to come out for that 52. But from where I was seeing, the 88 went as soon as the green came out. I think the 52 might have jumped. We'll see if iRacing decides if he's got a black flag or not. Pileski had a black flag clear, but everybody battling as hard as they can on the bottom right now. We'll see what happens here shortly.
The leader has plenty of time to control the restart. In fact, coming out into the restart box, they go on the green. But from what I saw with race control dropping the green flag, when you get to the point where the green flag flies, it's fair game at that moment. Your leader can get it kicked off a little bit before. You're not supposed to beat him to the line, but it wasn't just the 52, Andy, that shot away from everybody else. Chaburko almost cleared the 88 by the time they got to turn number 1. That's why I thought it was the 88 just slow on the accelerator, and so far so good for Malone out in front. Jorgensen does win back P2, dropping Chaburko back to 3rd, but if it was really just him missing that restart, talk about blowing an opportunity.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And, the question is, you can see on the racetrack right now, he does have the speed to catch back up to Malone. So that 88 truck, definitely not out of it, but definitely not what he wanted to have here early on, was something like that on a restart to really get basically shown up is what happened right there.
Oh, turn 2, contact the 34 to Sean Boundy. He gets moved by the 23 Nikon Chevy, or the Nikon Toyota of Haggerty, and the 34 going to pay him back the bump and run back to the inside, side by side. It's a battle for 12th. Haggerty wins it again, and Bounty's going to take him out in turn number 1. Hit me once, hit me twice, the 3rd time's the charm. He dumps him down in turns 1 and 2, and there's the caution flag. You talk about guys getting payback. The first shot didn't do it. The 3rd and 4th time got the job done.
And the worst part about it is we're not even close to being done for the night. We got
we're
3 cumulative races later, and these guys are going to be mad at each other. And that was interesting. Andy, that's your driver out there. Tell us what's going on.
I think he was a little upset.
A little? I will say he's not the first tonight. He went to the inside on the 51. It all started with Jason Altman. Altman's not really going to be in the conversation for much of this. The 34 locks up. We're going to take a look at everything what happened starting in turn 1. The 34, he's sideways into the corner, so I think it's hard to blame Haggerty for giving him a shot. I think he's upset that the 23 used that to pass him instead of just backing off and letting him recover. So Haggerty makes the pass. Boundy locks it up. I'll be fair and say that much. I saw a little bit of smoke. If anything, Haggerty locked it up also. You give him the shot back, you get to the inside. It's fair game at that point. And then you get sideways. So at that point, you got one shot at one shot. I think we're even. It should have ended in turn 1. And it wasn't that when they got back to turn 1, I'm trying to figure out how to word it. It wasn't as much as him trying to move him out of the way for the spot, I think, as much as it was him trying to take him out, because he wasn't happy about what he did and he wanted him to know. It looks like that was the case for me, pretty much. I don't know about you guys.
You know,
that's what I saw.
That's what makes racing at these.
It's Martinsville, baby.
That's what makes it so much fun to cover these races, because you never know. I mean, listen, you can be the fastest guy out there, but you piss off the wrong guy, you're going to be last. I mean, that's what's so exciting. Ask Joey Logano all about it. He knows all about it from last year.
And nobody will be there to save you. You get dumped at some of these other tracks, okay, you can, talk with the tower. You get dumped at Martinsville, sorry, part of the game. That's why you have to be somewhat diplomatic with your fellow competitors. That's why you normally don't want to start running people over till the final 10 laps. And Andy said we're just getting started. I 100% agree with that one, Josh. We're far from done.
Yeah, and like we were just saying, we got, just not the end of this race. We still got 44 laps remaining, but we got, High Super Speedway later on tonight, second part of a doubleheader. So you don't really want to be getting, ruffling people's feathers this early, especially with 3 races literally to go. So we'll see. Hopefully it'll calm down now, but I think there's probably more people out there probably more angry with people dive bombing now. So getting closer to the end of the race. I was saying 43 laps ago. It looks like we're going to come to 33 laps ago. And I'm sure it's just going to be get as much as you can, bump and run as much as possible out there right now.
Pace car down, we do it all again. Malone on the inside, Jorgensen after that bad restart to the outside. Let's see how they negotiate it together, this time at a turn number 4. Green flag back in the air, the 52, going to beat him to the start-finish line. Looked like a routine start down to turn number 1. Problem for Jorgensen is here comes Brandon Chiburko, the 3 truck, up the inside, a big wreck behind the Sean Bounty, the number 34, hard into the outside wall, the 7 as well.
That looks like he had some help by the 7. I don't know if that
I was going to say the 34 was in that accident. My first thought was, did that have anything to do with our last bit of contact? But it didn't. It was the 7 in front. You mentioned it. Looked like just another one of those accordion effect checkups. Wofford got sideways, and he got hit on the inside, or he spun down into the inside lane. McEachin sent him back up the hill, and Bounty was just the odd man out there.
How much do you think the 23 team paid the 7 for that?
I don't know. We'll have to see if they're on the same radio channel as each other. If it was on purpose, he made it look pretty good, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, and if it was, I'm sure Rod Flag will take a look at it later. But unfortunately, we still got 30 laps to go. We're going to get ready to do this here again shortly, and we'll see how the next restart happens.
Did anybody think that maybe his arm was itching down in turn 1? Or?
Yeah, we haven't had a caution all night, so they wanted to get one out and getting a little tired.
Thankfully, though, there's no caution clock to worry about, so that's not a concern. They're slowly starting to whittle away, though, because I mentioned earlier on after the first couple of yellows, if they're planning on traffic getting cleared up anytime soon, it's not going to happen. Well, slowly the drivers are starting to filter by the wayside. However, those that are eligible for a wave by, get a couple of them each time the caution flag comes out. You get about 3 or 4 drivers that get waved by. So we go back up to 24 on the lead lap. To be fair, a couple of names towards the back are pretty beat up, and they're just trying to get through this race, and there'll be those lap cars that you see either plastered on the inside or the outside wall, just trying to not get involved in all of the excitement that is going on. But there are still plenty of competitive trucks up front that could win this race. Your top 4 started top 10. Rod Flag counted, he started P11. I'm not really going to count him as one of the bigger movers because he's up to P5. It's a good run. But the guys that I'm looking at, a guy like a Justin Anderson from 22nd, or a Shane McEachin from 20th, or a Kent Connolly from 24th, you're doing all right, but you're going to have to start picking up spots at a lot faster pace if you really want to be in this.
Well, listen, honestly, if you can survive Martinsville and come out of here with a top 10, you got a pretty decent day.
If the truck is in one piece, I'd call it a success.
Well, good luck with that. I think at the point last week, I don't even think there was one truck out there that didn't have a scratch, and I'm sure tonight it's going to be the same thing before this thing's over. Everyone's going to have at least some sort of ding or dent or scratch on that machine. So it's one of them things. Get what you can, especially if you get a start on the bottom. You might be able to pick off a couple spots on each restart, but for the most part, it's just hang on to it and hope for a good finish, and hopefully you can make it to the end.
The Martinsville could not be any more different than Talladega, but it's the same idea. If you win, that's great. If you get a top 5 or a top 10, you'll take it. And you try to move on to the next week. Could this be the final time? The pace car dives down and away. Going to be with 27 laps to go in the Martinsville Speedway. The 52 on the bottom, alone to the restart box. He crosses the line. Green flag in the air. Back off and underway. Bad restart for Rod Flag. He'll lose the 3rd spot in line to the 71. Peterson swings down the hill. Battle for the race lead goes to Malone.
Yeah, and they're battling side by side. Jorgensen, Malone. Those two, Chaburko and DeMerchant, not too far behind, but it looks like Malone's going to hold it.
He got in the wall.
There it is, Jorg under the 52 of Malone. He's got the position. Let's see if he can pull it off a 2.
He got the spot. The 52 reluctant to give it up, but he got the fence in turn 4, and the 88 got the position. Caution will fly before he gets a shot, though. Casey Malone will retain the race lead. Yellow flag behind them. Sean Turner in the Rustmobile turned around in turn number 1, and another case of somebody trying to lock it up. It looked like as we tried to pull the LSRTV replay up to number 13 to Kelly Dahl on the outside, check it up to get in line, and no room there. And there was a high fly number 38 machine out of the 36. Turner coming in, locked it up, trying to avoid the contact, spins it around, and he got stuck down in the grass there for a little bit, but caution flag back out.
I was gonna say get that guy some paint for that. He needs a sponsor, maybe Sherwin-Williams. But at the same time, you're at Martinsville, so why waste it? Maybe get it done for next week.
They brought the disposable body parts.
Much needed here.
So it's shown that you're not safe up front. You're not really that safe towards the back. You're not safe at all. The guys that are safe are Derek Walker, David Anderson, Tommy Hall, and that's it. Because those are the only 3 drivers that are out of the race.
Or the pace car driver. He's pretty safe.
I don't know about that. I've seen the pace car hit the wall a couple of times on his own, so he might have to worry about a self-inflicted error.
That's only
the pace car is getting a lot of work. That's true. He's getting a lot of work in. I'll tell you that much. And I did say when we saw the caution flag at the halfway point that we could end up in this rotation again. Caution, couple of laps, caution, couple of laps. I think going into the final 20 laps, though, I'm not expecting that to clear up at all. I think, as I mentioned with a couple of the guys who have made a lot of progress, I mentioned a couple of names, Justin Anderson, Kelly Dahl, one of them who started 22nd and 29th respectively. You got Kent Connolly, Ray Rittenauer, and Matt Quick. Those 5 drivers run 10th through 14th right now. They all started outside the top 20. At this point, I don't think you're going to get much more unless you pass somebody that wrecks out, because I don't think we're going to get enough green flag laps in to do so, because it is the end of the race.
Yeah, unless we see a case of the Hendrick boys wrecking each other there in turn 1 from a couple of years ago.
I don't see Newman anywhere, so that's a safe bet. Who's in third?
Well, you do have Chaburko, DeMerchant.
DeMerchant might do it. Who knows?
Jorgensen that was dive bombing everybody last week. So we definitely got some guys up front that are not afraid to use that bumper, and it's about time. I was listening on some radios earlier, and they were saying it's about time to start using that bumper. So got about 20 laps to go. Really, we got a couple more cautions, and we'll be ending under yellow. So
when did they stop using the bumper?
I don't know.
I was going to say after the race, but that's when we get to see a lot of extracurricular activities. I don't think it's going to settle down anytime soon. I know we were talking about contact. I think the first clean car we spotted was Kent Connolly. He's now damaged. So I think you're going to have to look further than the guys inside of the top 15. The lights go out again, though. Going to make the math easy. 4/5 down and 20 laps to go. Malone and Jorgensen watch the guys on row number 2, DeMerchant and Chaburko. Green flag back in the air from Martinsville. Final 5th of action here on LSRTV. And a challenge for the outside. The 52 gets hit from behind. He locks it up, and Jorgensen to the point.
That was a great move right there, and a good job to keep that outside
he's
lane.
On the curb.
Look at everybody else all behind these guys just battling as hard as they can right now for every single position they possibly can. 71 of Christian Peterson almost getting run over as well there in turns 3 and 4. Gets a little bump right there from Corey Henry. That is a battle inside the top 10. Look at Rod Flag coming through the field right now. He's got that preferred line right now on Seth DeMerchant. He's trying to get that 4th spot.
I think flag the reason the 71's not making any friends. Outside, DeMerchant will hold on to fourth, but flag crossed over that 32 as the 71 was trying to sneak into his inside, and it caused Peterson to check things up. Greg Hooks didn't appreciate it. He gave him a small little nudge to say so. But how about the 52 of Malone? Caution flag will fly before we get to it. It's down the back.
Oh, man, a big wreck down the back stretch.
Parking lot.
51, the parking lot. It's all started down there with, looks like, the 51 of Jason Altman's 3 wide coming off of turn 2. We got the 89 of Matt Quick getting into the 51 with the 34, and then it's a parking lot.
And I don't think one person made it through that either without getting a piece of it. I mean, all I can say is 3 wide doesn't work at Martinsville, and I'll leave my analysis at that.
I don't see why it doesn't, but or maybe that was the reason right there.
Well, they see somebody go to the. They could fit them if you parked them 3 wide.
Yeah,
you could fit 4 or 5 lanes. There's at least 4 lanes, if not 5 lanes, painted on the track. If you want to put somebody in each seam down on the concrete and each section of asphalt on the top. The problem is, they're not going high speeds. They're down to about 65, 70 miles an hour in the quarter. The problem is nobody likes to give somebody the lane. So you're constantly trying to pinch that guy on the bottom, or you're constantly trying to slide up a little bit to the guy on your top side, and they're trying to do the same thing to you. So you just end up driving into each other, and it doesn't work out.
Yeah, and all these guys out there right now are just looking for the win. I mean...
If they can't win, they want to get their money's worth before they leave.
For sure, and they're gonna, hey, that one spot, I'm gonna use that bumper, spin this guy out. Okay, well, I just wrecked him. Now I got 10 spots because I wrecked the rest of the field. So, but we got about 14 laps to go. I'd say about 12 to 13 when we get going green. I don't see it letting up here. You're taking the. I don't know who's going to win here. It sounds like Cisco saying that the 3 of Brandon Chaburgo somehow going to get the win here.
He's in the Newman spot. I don't know.
And we all know that Chaburgo is not afraid to use that bumper, so we'll see.
Andy, is the grass technically out of bounds because the curb's yellow? Or can you drive it if you want? You can do that?
Listen, these guys are in trucks. 4-wheel it. Get right in
there. There you go. It'll be Jorgensen, Malone inside to the outside on number 1. Brandon Chaburko now in the number 3 spot. Restart, we'll find out how many laps we'll have left to go. This time, if the lights go off, it'll be 12 laps to go. They do. That leaves us with the opportunity for at least 1 additional caution flag, if not 2, if they come quickly enough to still be able to get a restart at the end. I'm being honest. At our numbers here, we're looking at a caution inside the final 4 laps would end this race. So if you're that 88, you got a gift on the last restart because the guy on your inside had the spot on you. He got hit from behind. Don't blow it again. Jorgensen back to the top spot. The fastest truck in practice. Going to lead us back to the green flag. 12 laps to go. Green flag in the air. And again, Casey Malone beats him on the restart for the 2nd time in a row. Caution flag will fly. They beat and bang on the inside. Jorgensen got to be heated. We take a look for what the contact was. It may or may not be. It will be. Sean Turner's number 36, 2nd time tonight. He's involved in an accident, and he just spun out. Coming out of quarter number 4 to the green flag. I still don't see what the 52 is doing is wrong.
I don't know. I think he's jumping.
For me, at least, and I know the conventional rule is that the leader can go before the green. Here you're expected to go on the green. I heard green flag over race control. 52 win and the 88 didn't. But on the other restarts, I've heard the green, and the guys in 2nd place have waited for the leader to go. It is a little bit of a different restart box here at Martinsville than it is at different tracks. But if we're going based on the command coming down from the flag stand, and when the green flag is displayed on the screen, the 52 is going at least when I'm receiving that notification. But it has looked like outside of the 52, everybody has been going 1 or 2 seconds after that green. So I'm not sure if, with the pace car coming down in turn 3, if we have a modified restart procedure. But from what I'm seeing, I don't think Malone's doing anything wrong. You guys disagree?
I
do.
I'll put it this way: it's close if he's not. I don't know. I'm not in the car. I don't see the green flag when those guys, or I can't.
And unfortunately,
see that
we can't pull that information up on the restart. We can't go back and show you the replay and show you that moment because a green flag is displayed on the driver's screen as well as an audible command from the in-sim race control, which is not managed by the league admins. That's managed by the sim itself, such as caution flags are as well. So we can't go back and analyze when the green flag drops. We can't analyze when the lights around the track turn green or go off because they're off the lap prior. So there's no way to investigate it. So, we're not looking at these restarts with a magnifying glass. But the 52 is the only person that has done it so far tonight, which would lead in the favor of saying that he's jumping it. It's not like it's been consistent all night long, but that's the second time that Jorgensen's lost the lead before turn 1 on a restart, both to the hands of the 52.
Well, I think I know what the 88 needs to do on this restart. He needs to try it.
Well, I'm sure he's not happy.
In 3.
I can tell you that much. He's not happy, and the problem is he's on the outside again.
Yep.
If you want to say hi, you have to find out where Chaburko is going to be. And Chaburko's not going to let you in line because Chaburko, if anything, is the one person where you can count on not finding a spot on the inside open because he's not going to let you down. I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of torn up sheet metal and possibly a lot of torn up egos on this restart, guys.
Yeah,
I'm ready for it because I'm not down there, so I'm good. I got no problem with what's going on.
And you think the 88, I'm sure he's furious inside that cockpit. So I'm sure he's not happy. Chaburko's going to move. Chaburko's going to try to win the race. So he might move the 52
If
or
they
the
both
88.
wreck, he can take it.
Oh, yeah. Well, or he may wreck them both. So, and that 32 isn't shy either. So we'll see. The last restart right here. And I don't even know what's going to happen.
Caution ends the race. 5 laps to go. It's Malone in P1, Jorgensen second, and Newman back in third. Getting ready for the green flag in turn number 4. Green is back out, and it's Casey Malone to turn 1. There's no room for Jorgensen to get in line. They'll battle side by side. How many laps of battle do they get to do? Jorgensen nose advantage to 3.
He's got that nose advantage, but quite honestly, that's all he needs when the caution comes out. So we'll see what he can do here off of turn number 4. He's going to lose a little bit of time there. He's going to get the push.
Get behind him.
The 71, or excuse me, the 32. Set the Merchant trying to get in there, and look at that 3 truck now to the inside. He's not going to get that spot. Now it's a battle for second, and now the battle for the lead.
There's the shot. Turn 3. 3 laps to go this time. They're spitting behind them. Jorgensen gave him a shot. They'll hang on. We stay green for the moment. Moustakis will get turned. Caution flag will fly. Casey Malone will hang on to win at Martinsville Speedway. And Jorgensen got his opportunity. He tried to get 2 in. He would have got an extra one in if he could get in line down the back because we knew the 88 was trying to get in line. DeMerchant, though, behind him said, well, you're not checking up to get in line. He shoved him to turn number 1. Jorgensen won it on the outside of the racetrack. We knew the shot was coming. That's a fair hit, though, in turn 3. He gave him 2 shots, but that's a fair hit. He didn't take him out. He tried to move him up the hill. I'm not sure he would have been as fair by the time they got back down to the next set of corners, but I think that's a fair hit. That's a fair shot for the race win in turn 3.
Oh, yeah, that was a fair shot, and it looked like, he really hit him square. It was just trying to push him up the track, wasn't trying to spin him out. He definitely did the right thing there, not actually wrecking him, because if he would have wrecked him, that would have been the end of the race for the 88 as well. So he tried all he could, gave them as much bumper as possible without spinning him out, and unfortunately it just wasn't enough tonight. Second place for Jorgensen, but Malone, he had to know it was coming, Evan, because he saw him all the way on the bottom on that backstretch.
He was prepped, he was clenched, and he was ready, and he's going to be able to hang on under the caution flag. And after a couple of late race restarts and some controversial ones in the end from P6 to P1, a checkered flag will fly Casey Malone going to get the W this evening for the Martinsville Speedway, and the repeated shots from the 88 under the caution flag tell you just how he feels about that. 52 going to get the W, and a couple of feelings behind. It looked like the number 32 of Seth the Merchant wasn't making many friends back in the pack, and he got taken out as well. And I will repeat, we are at a short track, and that's what you get.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But a great win for the rookie of Casey Malone. Casey Malone, this is his second win of the season here in his rookie season in the truck. So pretty good job by him, and a pretty tough track to get a win, but he was able to come through.
I will let you know, Josh, that I have not driven by a Lowe's today, but I did go to Raising Cane's for lunch, and the Cane's truck ends up at Victory Lane, so I'll take a part of the purse from the Malone team as he gets the W. It was a good win for him, though. Again, the topic of conversation is obviously going to be the restarts, but no call from race control at the time. But I don't think you can go back and review a restart at this point and give it to Jorgensen. But we'll find out if there is any post-race review. But the 52 unofficial winner for Martinsville in a race that had everything that we would come to expect out of a race here.
Yeah, and I think really the only thing that can happen at this point is maybe a penalty or something. The outcome of the race is not going to change. Nothing really happened there at the end, so expect to see the finishing order stay the same. Obviously, there was some angry people after the race, so there might be some penalties handed down for that. But definitely a good race here tonight. Probably more caution laps in green, but we definitely saw a little bit of both, and it was a good night.
A good night for us, I'll tell you that much. It's going to be a case of, as I mentioned, Martinsville and Talladega. The winner, he's happy. Everybody else that survives is not all that satisfied. And the guy that gets the short end of the straw, maybe in this case, Mark Jorgensen Jr., maybe not all that happy either as he gets set to leave the track. Let's talk with your top finishers, though, from the Martinsville Speedway. Malone, Jorgensen, and DeMerchant going to come home in the number 1, 2, and 3 positions so far, and we'll get a word in with them in a moment. In the meantime, we'll step away, take a quick commercial break, and return to the Martinsville Speedway. When we return, you're watching LSRTV's coverage of the Roddcar Truck Tour on iRacing Live. The post-race show for Martinsville will be back in a moment, and then as well cut up later tonight at 10 o'clock Eastern. It is the iSuperspeedway.com Racing Series. We'll see you back, though, in a moment for the post-race wrap-up. Welcome back to the virtual Martinsville Speedway for the LSRTV post-race show as the Roddcar Truck Tour portion of RI Super Speedway doubleheader draws to a close. Casey Malone's second time on the year. He puts the number 52 in victory lane. He awaits down there. We'll catch up with him in a moment. In the meantime, let's take a look at our LSRTV full race results from the Martinsville Speedway. The 52 best seed Mark Jorgensen Jr. for the number 1 spot. The 88 has to settle for second. This evening behind him, Seth the Merchant as well. Going to walk away on the podium. We'll stand by with those three and speak with them coming up next. Christian Peterson in 4th position tonight. Brandon Chiburko actually slid back there in the closing laps. Good enough for a P5. Rod Flag at a P6. 7th to Justin Anderson. Corey Henry at 8th position. Greg Cooks coming home in 9th, and 10th was James Pileski.
Coming up in that 11th spot here tonight was the 088 of Kent Connolly. 12th went to Alex Hallinar. Kelly Dahl finished in the 13th spot. 14th went to Shane McEachin. Ryan Keese finished 15th. Jared Haggerty in the 23 finished 16th. 17th goes to the pole sitter. The 210 of Tom Moustakis. Sean Turner finishes 18th. 19th goes to the 89 of Matt Quick. The last truck on the lead lap, and 1 lap down in 20th was Ray Rittenauer.
Most of the rest of these guys had issues on the night. Rodney Wofford 5 laps down. Frank Busiella had a disconnect. Ryan Powell finishes 23rd. Sean Bounty 24th. Brandon Montevice finishes 25th. Jay Riot, Mark Emery, Tommy Hall 28th. David Anderson and Derek Walker round out the finishing order.
And with the top 19 of those finishing on the lead lap, it's safe to say that it was a exciting and interesting event. More exciting for us up top, more maybe other than Casey Malone, who ends up with the win. And I'm sure he's pumped with the result tonight. So we're caught up down in the virtual victory lane with tonight's winner, driver of the number 52, Casey Malone. Winner tonight at Martinsville Speedway. Casey, congratulations to you. You take the checker and the yellow alongside each other. But it was everything that happened before that. That was the fun. You and Jorgensen going at it. We have to ask you the question on the restarts because 2 out of 2 times you lined up to his outside. You beat him by the time you got down to turn number 1, and it was a hotly debated issue on if you were jumping the restart or if he was sleeping. Talk us through those.
The first one, we were coming to it, and he stabbed the gas, and I went, and it just so happened right as I went, the green flag came out. And I that's when I cleared him going into 1. I think it just ended up working out for me that the green flag came out right at the right time. And then the second time I was on the top, I felt like I was good, but I would have to go watch it.
Well, I'll tell you what, the objective of the restart is to try to time it, and it looked like that was the case from up here. And then going into that final one, you had to know that he wasn't going to be all that happy. And for a lot of it, side by side going on behind you, didn't allow Jorgensen to get to you. And he got a shot at you before the caution flag came out. How'd you prep for that final restart?
I was expecting him to stay on the outside and maybe drive around me if we could stay green. The outside really had a lot of grip, especially off of the corners. And he actually had a really good run on the outside off of 2 going into 3. And that's right when the caution came out. I think if we'd have ran it out to the end, he would have beat me for sure.
You end up a winner second time at Victory Lane 2016. You guys have to be happy with the way things are going so far. Tonight going to keep you in the number 3 spot in the championship standings behind DeMerchant and Peterson, 2 other competitors that also have 2 wins.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. After having my screen go off 2 weeks in a row, 3rd in points seems like a pretty good deal, so I'll take it.
Sponsors, shout out some of the people behind the scenes. Casey, who do you want to thank for getting you here?
Well, I got to thank Mark for racing me so hard and clean. That was a blast. And I got to thank Brandon Chiburko, James Pileski, Ron Pilen, Jason Altmans, Frank Bucali. And that's all.
All right, sir. Well, hey, thanks for sticking around and chatting with us. Thanks for making it fun at the end and getting the upper hand of these other guys again. Congratulations to you. Best of luck tonight.
Thank you, sir.
Casey Malone, the upper hand at the end of the night. The guy that gets the short end of the straw, Mark Jorgensen Jr., he's on the opposite end of a lot of the questions that I asked Andy. You've caught it with him tonight as he comes home in second.
Yeah, I am down here on pit road with the 88, Mark Jorgensen Jr. And Mark, it's not been. I mean, I guess you could say this is definitely a better season than last. You haven't started all the races this season, but out of the 4 starts, you got 3 top 5s, with your worst being a 4th. Not a bad way and a good rebound for you, and it looks like you're real close to knocking on the door for a win.
Oh, yeah, Andy. Hold on just a second. Got a chicken in my mouth. Hold on. No, yeah. Yeah, I'm good. Had to wash that chicken down with a Dr. Pepper, 23 flavors of awesome. But yeah, man, the season's been pretty good. Last season, it was the open set in the trucks, and probably should have had about 5 wins over there. But this season, it's back to fixed. Everybody's driving the same setup, and man, it's just it's just a hell of a damn season. 4 races, 3 top 5s. I don't know how many damn times I'm going to finish second, but yeah, I probably should have just tossed it into turn 3 a little bit harder and just knocked Casey out of the way. But man, I don't want to race like that for a win. It was just a blast out there.
Well, it looked like that, navigating through all those cautions there. You spent a lot of time riding around, I guess getting a lot of time to think about these. And a couple of those restarts there, you were the leader and you were on the bottom, and it looked like that 52. It was questionable from some of our perspectives whether he jumped the starts or not. Talk us through those couple of restarts there where it looked like you were maybe caught sleeping.
Yeah, having these cautions, having time to think about it. I think that was the worst situation because I'm thinking about how I'm going to nail the restart, and then in the end it was how I screwed up the restart. But yeah, there were some that were maybe questionable, but I'm not the kind of driver that's going to complain to the league admin to have them check the tapes and this, that, and the other. It's just going to make me drive a little bit harder to try to get it back. But yeah, it seemed like every time I was the leader coming to the restart, the 52 truck just got a hellacious restart. Was able to drive around me on the outside, and there was a few times where he was on the bottom and I was on the outside, and man, it was just fun racing. I felt like the outside was the place to be on that last restart, but caution just ended up coming out and just kind of ruined my chances.
Well, it ruined your chances, but it didn't ruin your spirits, Mark. You end up coming home with a second-place finish here at Martinsville. Sponsor shout-outs. Who helps you get that 88 here?
Oh, well, this delicious golden chicken, pretty amazing with white gravy. Dr. Pepper, 23 flavors of awesome. I'd like to give a shout-out to you, Andy. All y'all up in the booth do a heck of a job. Even Cisco behind the scenes. I'd like to give another shout-out for Rod for letting me come in here and be a part of it, have fun every Friday night. It's an amazing league, both series, and I say that every time I'm up here. And man, I just so look forward to every Friday night, and hopefully the next series, here in another hour or so, hopefully I can finish one better, and I'll be talking to somebody in Victory Circle.
That's always what it's about, and we wish you the best with that. Go enjoy your 23 flavors of awesome, and I'll have to get me one of those here too.
Appreciate it, Andy.
There you have it. Second place finisher here tonight, the 88, Mark Jorgensen Jr. Just that one spot away from getting the win, but he is getting closer and closer as it gets. But I'm going to send it down. Josh Ball is caught up with our points leader in that 32 machine.
Down here with Seth Amin finishing third tonight, able to extend that points lead. We saw you out there having an interesting evening. Started P9 tonight, and then back to the back up to the front. Had a chance for the win there. Tell us about your night.
Yeah, just kind of points racing tonight. I'm not really good here at this track, I felt like, but kind of figured out the top lane, it seems like, and that's where I made most of my passes, and just got lucky there. About mid-race, I took 2 tires, got track position, and just got lucky with the cautions, and felt like I could run the top probably better than most, and that's basically where I passed everybody to get up there.
Yeah, well, I mean, the biggest thing we were, throughout the night, we were saying, top 5 are probably going to win the race, but you were able to work your way back through the field, probably most of that, some of it at least, on that 2-tire stop, but a lot of people checking up in the rear, a lot of self-spin. Did you see much of that when you were trying to come through the field?
Yeah, just had to be really careful. I got in an incident really early, and then after that, I just had to be real cautious, and that's actually why I took 2 tires, to get out of that mess and try to get up near the front.
Oh, it's another good night for that 32 Chevrolet out there tonight. Able to extend that points lead barely by one position over your teammate Peterson, but who makes it happen for you? And any shout-outs you want to thank?
I just got to thank P-Money Designs, you guys for broadcasting, and Rod for putting the league on.
Once again, that is Seth the Merchant, your third-place finisher tonight, still points leader here on Season 2 of the Roddcar Truck Tour. Evan, that's pretty much it for the night, and one exciting night here at Martinsville.
And I'll tell you what, you're up for some more work in just a little bit, and that's going to be coming to you guys in about 35 minutes. Part 2 of our doubleheader. Get set to roll, but I will say, DeMerchant way out in front of Peterson and Malone, both drivers, actually all three of them, with 2 trips to victory lane. But a big difference is the top 5s and the top 10s. That's where the consistency gets you a little bit more. We're going to be talking about Casey Malone a lot going into the next round. Got his second win the week prior, and we'll say that. But DeMerchant, who, well, we talked to him on the podium, but it's the finishes 4th on the back that he gets there. You don't talk to him all the time. That's really, I think, what's given him that little bit of an upper hand. And he's starting to pull away. And I think these guys are going to have to need something to happen to that 32, Andy, if they want to get back in the conversation before it's too late, because it's over a race now in points.
Yeah, he's just been way too consistent here for the rest of the field so far. 7 races, 7 starts. He's got 5 top 5s. He's just been on fire, including 2 wins. And it just seems no matter where he starts, you're going to find that 32 right up front, and typically getting an interview in one of the top 3 spots here week in and week out. So he's just having one of those seasons that, everybody wishes they could have every time out there. Just everything seems at this point to go his way. And we're at Martinsville. He's way in the back of the pack, and for him to be able to come through the field, especially with all the chaos that was going on there, and to come up there and salvage this and come out with a 3rd-place finish again tonight, that's just shows the amazing talent behind the wheel of that 32 truck.
We look forward to that second part of tonight's doubleheader. Josh going to be behind the wheel for that one, as opposed to up here with us. What could we expect as exciting of a race later on tonight as we just saw right here at Martinsville, or what's going to be the plan of attack for that cumulative event?
Well, first off, I'm trying not going to be behind the wall, as you just said. I'm trying not to do that. But otherwise, strategy really, as we saw come into play last time we were here at the cumulative event. And, you got to have enough teammates to be able to pit with you. Got to be close enough to them. That's the fact. Or at least get people to go down pit road at the same time you do. We got 3 races, no cautions, so it's definitely different than what you normally see here on Friday nights. So it's every 3rd week we're doing something new this year, and it should be interesting. Should be interesting to see. You got a lot of larger teams, and we'll see who comes out with the best strategy and gets the win tonight.
We hope to see you in just about 30 minutes' time for that second part of LSRTV's Friday night doubleheader. The Roddcar Truck Tour now in the books of the iSuperspeedway.com Racing Series coming up. Until we get back away tonight, that does it for tonight's Truck Series event, and we bid you farewell from the Martinsville Speedway. And a big thanks to everybody for tuning in on behalf of everybody at LSRTV, and as well for the broadcast team tonight. For myself, Evan Pasoko, Andy Kessler, Josh Ball, and producer Cisco Scaramuzzo, I want to wish congratulations to Casey Malone, 2nd trip to victory lane on the year. We'll see you in just a little bit right back here on LSRTV and iRacing Live for the second part of tonight's coverage. Thanks.